Hey, it's Steve Riley. Welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And I have an extraordinary guest today, a longtime Atticus member, a longtime thinker, strategist, and a guy I'm a huge fan of, Lonny Balbi. Lonny, how you doing?
Thank you very much, Steve. Yeah, great. Everything's great. Love to hear from you and love trying to do something here for Atticus. It's awesome.
Oh, I greatly appreciate it. So just let's take a moment to tell everybody where you're at, what your practice is, and a little bit about your background before we dig into the topic of today, because I want people to have context before you and I tear into this.
Sure. Well, okay. So I'm an attorney in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So I'm way far away from most of you guys. I've been doing family law for over 40 years. So my practice is really restricted to the family law area, and yeah. So I have a big background in that area. I've learned the system. And then, we're going to talk a little bit about an idea that I came up with many, many years ago, and it's proven to be a great system, a great way to make money, and a great way to serve your clients in a much better way.
Well, that's perfect because a lot of lawyers, especially family law lawyers, seem to be stuck in a particular mindset. And I think you're the first one, probably one of two that I know that broke loose probably 20, 25 years ago in packaging and breaking away from the billable hour. So I just want to dive into this particular topic. So, and I'll put in the show notes, I'll put links to your firm. So if anybody needs any great representation in Canada, you're the guy to go to. But what was the problem that you saw, and what were you wrestling with, and how did you come up with this idea?
So the problem that I saw, Steve, was that it is the hourly rate. I mean, I thought I kept thinking about that. You could be standing in the shower thinking about something, and you can get a solution for a client that took you 5 minutes to think about it. And if I build my hourly rate for that time, I could save a person $100,000, and it took me 5 minutes to do that. And that made no sense to me. And I tried to think of it in terms of, if I were the client, how would I want to do things, or how much would I be willing to pay, for example, for something like that? And I suppose from a sort of an economic standpoint, I guess I'm willing to pay up to the amount I saved, right? I mean, if I could pay you $99,000 to save 100,000, I suppose that would make sense. But even more on the basis of, how do I provide great value for clients? And that's what really led to this whole concept, the whole idea behind it.
What what happened next in your thinking? Like you said, okay, I'm not going to do a free consultation. I'm going to reframe it as a marital assessment. What happened next in your thinking about it?
So what I did was, I wanted to give really good value to the client. Okay, so this was important to me. It's not sort of about money, and what the cost is or anything. That wasn't the issue. The issue is, what can I do to give a client better value for this matrimonial assessment? So we what we did was, we first of all got away from the time that this thing took. Okay, we didn't say to people this would be an hour or a 2 hour meeting. We just said it takes whatever it takes. So just get away from the time. And we say that, so what'll happen is, and it's really important, it's done in this order, that you have to make sure that prospective clients are given the value proposition. What makes this so valuable? Okay, so you're going to meet with an attorney that has experience in family law, obviously. We're going to go through all of the facts with you, make sure we understand it 100%. We will then give you advice on each of the legal issues that come up. We're going to record the entire conversation, and we're going to give you a copy of that recording, including all of the advice that you're going to be given. We're going to talk about all of the options that are available for settlement, the different ways, anything from, I call it the kitchen table approach, where the two parties can work out a deal around the kitchen table on their own, right through to going to court and everything in between. So I go through each one of those things. I'll explain what are the pros and cons are of each of those, and the costs of each of those. And then I will, of course, talk about what we call tips and strategies I will give you the tips and strategies that you should do that are cheap and inexpensive that you could do right away to improve your situation. Then I will then give you reading material on your issues. For example, we have a series of books that we keep here. We buy them by the caseload, and depending on what the issue is, if it's a parenting issue, we've got a book on parenting. We've got an issue. We've got a book on people who are having real difficulty with a separation. They're psychologically really hurting. I've got a book on that we give them books for free. Like they just, whatever the issue is, we'll give them that material. If there's children involved, we've produced a DVD or actually now it's on a memory stick, and it's a video about an hour and a half long of some psychologists that talk about things that children go through in when people are separating, and we give them that DVD or the video, I guess, so that they can review it. And it's got about 42 little tips on how to improve the situation for your children. So we call that keeping your children out of the middle of the divorce. So we've got that. And then at the end, again, answer all the client's questions. And then at the end of all of that, then we talk about price. But the first thing is value. So it's not an initial consultation. It takes considerably longer than that. And at the end of that process, I always like to tell people that I want you to be able to make an informed choice on how you want to proceed, given this meeting. And so that meeting is packed with value. It's so rare that I get anybody that has any pushback on the cost. I'll tell you the cost. To do all of that, I charge in Canada. I charge $3,150. $3,000 plus tax, so $3,150 for that. Now, remember, I have to get away from the hourly rate thing. It's not about hours. I mean, I can tell you my experience is that it usually takes me about 2 hours to do this, but that's, again, it could take 3, it could take 1.5, but it's not about time. It's about providing the client with value. I want to make sure when they leave here, they have really good information. You know, they've got a video. They've got a recording of our conversation. I like to tell people to relax. You're welcome to take notes, but if you don't want to take notes, don't take any notes. I'm recording the conversation, and I'll give you a copy of that recording so you can take it home and listen to it.
What did you learn from doing this? Like, what did you learn about the practice of law? What did you learn about business? What did you learn about this whole process?
Well, yeah. I mean, so as I said, I mean, how can I say this? I thought I was the only person who could really, you know, judge clients. Let's just say that. And I found that no, I can extricate myself from that process, and I can train people to do it. So that was an interesting development that, it took me a while before I got there, but I finally got there. The other thing is that I know that there's a big reluctance amongst attorneys. I find this all the time. There's a reluctance they don't feel that they can charge that amount of money for this thing. They just feel like it's too much money. And that's a mindset. For sure, it's a mindset, because I've been doing it for years. I mean, my rate is, on an hourly basis, it's kind of a ridiculous rate, but I'm not doing it on an hourly basis. I am providing you with a package, and I want it to be good value. And I don't want anybody walking away saying that was a lot of money for that. I want them to say, yeah, that was worth it. Like, that was great. That's great information. And that's always been my focus is how can I provide more value? In fact, I mean, I didn't even mention this. One of the things that we had done as an extra value was an idea that when people come in here and they've done this assessment, sometimes we want to give them something extra. And what we did is we would give them a subscription to a magazine, like it would be, there was, Oprah's magazine or something like that, so, a fitness magazine. We had a list of them, and we would give them a 1-year subscription. So what I loved about that is this magazine would show up every month, and they would think of us because we gave it to them, and it's a small cost for us, but we would give it to them as an extra added incentive, sort of to, that man, we're trying to provide good value. And again, it's not a kitschy thing. It's like, it depends on the person. If somebody's really into fitness, maybe that's something that they would want. Or, like I said, Oprah, or forget, I mean, we had so many magazines that we would give people. If they wanted them, we would just give them a subscription. So always trying to give them more value. That's really what I learned.